So, after the fall, the next big event that I'm going to talk about is God's covenant to Noah. So, after sin enters the world because of the fall, humans kind of spiral into worse and worse sin. It talks about every single terrible sin that you could think of, a lot worse than you would even maybe anticipate throughout that time. But eventually, it comes to a point that God fully decides that He needs to destroy the world. We need to sit in the tension a little bit of this story. God destroying the entire world kind of rubs up against our views of God being an entirely loving creator. But how I tend to talk about it with my students is that the world has fallen into evil. It's irredeemable. Irredeemable evil. So it's an evil that cannot be recovered from. And less thinking about the humanity of it, but realistically thinking about, which based on whether you take it literally or not, it's a lot different. But based on the evil, this shows us how God deals with evil. The flood shows us how He deals with it. He destroys all of it. He leaves no evil in the world. And this kind of becomes a symbol throughout the Old Testament going forward of what God is going to do to evil. There's a parable about the weeds and the wheat later on in the Gospels that talks about how God handles evil in the world. So, because of this, though, God destroys the earth. With a flood, saves it from evil, but also remembers His good creation. So this is where He first chooses Noah, because he is good and upright, to build an ark and be saved. They bring 2 by 2 every animal species onto the ark. How this all works, don't ask me. It's a mystery that we'll probably never solve as Christ followers. But whether this is just part of the story, everything like that, we don't know, but still it has a lot of value in just kind of its meaning. So going forward, though, the earth gets flooded. It ends up Noah needs to know when he is safe to get out of the boat and go somewhere, and when there's land. And at a certain point, he sends out the dove, which I often love the symbolism of the spirit as a dove. The spirit is often what guides us back home. I like to call it home is where I like to say we experience our communion with Christ. And the dove guides us back to our home, the land, in this story. It goes out 3 times. On the 3rd time, finds an olive branch, and that's how they know they can go back to the water. Go back out of the water into the land. Once they get back on land, God makes a promise. That promise is never again. Never again will I flood the earth and destroy it like that. He seals it and signs it with a rainbow. It's interesting what the symbols of a lot of these covenants are going to be. Many of them are blood covenants, but this one is signed and sealed with a rainbow, which I think is really, really a cool little tidbit, in fact. So, if nothing else, this story really serves for the purpose of God will never destroy us. He will never destroy His creation again because He loves it and loves how good it is. So, this is the covenant of Noah. This has significance, obviously, for us as God's protected individuals and people, and God signing a covenant that He will always be with us, never destroy us again. In the next video, we will start to see the covenant that kind of starts to reverse the fall in certain ways. It's the covenant that begins God's saving plan through a chosen people. So check out the next video to see the Abraham covenant.